श्री गणेशाय नमः। ओम श्री सरस्वत्यै नमः। ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। योऽन्तः प्रविश्य मम वाचमिमां प्रसुप्तां सञ्जीवयत्यखिलशक्तिधरस्वधाम्ना अन्यांश हस्तचरणश्रवणत्वगादीन् प्राणान् नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यम्।
सुखं नित्यं स्वप्रकाशं व्यापकं नाम रूपयोः अधिष्ठानं बुद्ध्यबोध्यं बुद्धेर्दृग्यत्तु निर्मलम् अपारं सर्ववेदान्त वेद्यं प्रत्यक्परं महः तदेवाहं न मत्तोऽन्यत् इति मे निश्चिता मतिः। So we are seeing the questions raised about what is the pramana means of knowledge for aparoksha jnana, and the argument that is mahavakya by itself enough to give aparoksha jnana, or do we need to do shravana manana nididhyasana? Let's understand in detail and in complete context what the question is and what the answer is. Let's just revise. First and foremost, we have to understand, for knowledge to be gained or knowledge to take place, we need means of knowledge. Jnana, sadhana, pramana. What type of pramana? The pramana that we had seen, it should have 4 characteristics. Or the knowledge that is to be gained, for that the pramana should have 4 characteristic features. The knowledge gained from that pramana, jnana sadhana, it should be abadhita, unrefuted. It cannot be refuted by other means of knowledge. Otherwise, that cannot be exclusive means. For example, if I say the sound which is being produced is of a string instrument. Why? Because I am seeing it through my eyes. But in reality, the string instrument is not being played, but what is being played is percussion instrument. Now, the sound, for sound, what is pramana? What are the means of knowledge? Ears. Only by listening we can say this is this particular sound. But after having heard, there is no other pramana which is going to refute that knowledge or which is going to contradict that knowledge. Why? Because there is no other pramana available. So that pramana is exclusive and the knowledge is not being refuted. To add to this example, after seeing something or listening to something, if it is known to be something else, then also it is being refuted. Say, I see silver in shell. That pearl shell, when it is lying on the ground in sun, it shines and it appears to be a silver piece. In reality, what is that? It is a shell. So in both cases, when I was seeing that shell as silver, I was using my eyes as means of knowledge, and when I saw that to be as shell, that time also I used my eyes themselves as means of knowledge. But because earlier knowledge got refuted, that in reality is not knowledge itself. It is called Brahma, an illusion. This is abadhita. Then another should be anadhigata, not acquired before. It cannot be something which I have already acquired. And again I am knowing. If it has already been acquired and it is again being known, there is no sense in calling it as knowledge again. It is no separate thing. Then asandigdha, for that which I have gained to be considered as knowledge, it should be doubtless. I should not have any doubt about it. Say by listening to example, when I see any piece of silver lying on the ground, and if I have this idea, is it really silver or piece of shell? This is doubt. And having this doubt that it might not be really a piece of silver, even though I am seeing it with my eyes, cannot be knowledge. So knowledge should be doubtless, and it should be different from smriti. Just because I remembered something does not mean I have gained the knowledge of that object. Smriti vilakshana. Having understood this, let's come to Vedanta. What Vedanta is trying to say? In reality, Vedanta is trying to say, you are Brahman. Now, is there any other way to contradict this statement that you are Brahman? No. Why not? Because the means of knowledge, pramana that I have used to gain this knowledge, I am Brahman, that is Upanishad pramana, is the highest means of knowledge. And by other means, it cannot be refuted. Why? Because other means, other pramana does not have entry or capacity to refute. Just like whatever that has been heard cannot be refuted through our eyes. Because the sound which is being listened to is not in the field of knowledge of eyes. Eyes have no way to understand what sound is being produced or what sound is being heard. Similarly, no other pramana can say that whatever that has been told by Upanishad pramana, here Mahavakya, or in that case Avantar Vakya also, is wrong. If that is to be refuted, it can be refuted through Vedanta or Upanishads alone. Now, Upanishads are saying there is Brahman, Satchidanandamay Brahma, and that Brahman you are. So I have used means of knowledge. It is abadita, unrefuted. It is something which I did not know before. I knew myself to be Jiva, I knew myself to be this body, mind, intellect, etc. Now I have known something which I did not know myself about myself. Otherwise, why do I need pramana? I will not need any pramana if I know myself to be who am I. But that is not the case. So the earlier idea about me myself, which I have, that I am this Jiva, has been refuted. And new knowledge is taking place. By what? By listening to either Avantar Vakya or Mahavakya. Now, the knowledge which I have gained through Avantar Vakya or Mahavakya should be doubtless. Let's consider it is without any doubt. And because I never knew that before, earlier, it has to be Smriti Vilakshana. It cannot be out of my own memory. So, Brahman is there and I am that Brahman. These both are the knowledge which I am gaining. What is the pramana used for that? Pramana is Upanishad Vakya. Here comes the thing. The knowledge has been categorized depending on the means of knowledge into different types. We will not go into all the details, but whatever that is required here, we will take. Anything and everything that is known through our senses is direct perception. Anything and everything that is known through our senses is direct perception. We know ourselves through direct perception to be this body-mind complex. I am this body, I am so and so, I am so and so son or father, wife, brother, husband, etc. Everything. All this knowledge has been gained through pratyaksha pramana. But that is not the right understanding, right knowledge. Upanishads tell us there is Brahman. Now here Upanishads are Shabda Pramana. In English they translate it as verbal testimony. Shabda Pramana, if we are to understand it, it is otherwise called as Apta Vakya. A statement uttered by a person in whom I have complete faith in. When that person says, this is the way, this is the thing, the knowledge which is gained is through Shabda Pramana, verbal testimony or Apta Vakya. By verbal testimony or Upanishads, by Upanishad Vakya, I have gained knowledge. So it is no way pratyaksha. Why? It cannot be direct perception. Because I have not used any of my sense organs to gain that knowledge. Sense organs are not pramana here. What is pramana? Pramana is Upanishad Vakya. Now, Upanishads have told me about an object. If that object is vyavahita, obstructed by time and space, if it is somewhere else, or if it is the thing of past or future, then even though I have gained that knowledge through Shabda Pramana itself, the knowledge which I have gained is paroksha only. It can be paroksha only. Because somebody had said so. Now, when the knowledge of an entity, of that the object about which I have gained knowledge is not different from me, this knowledge is not pratyaksha as we have identified, because it has not been gained through any of my senses. It has been gained through Upanishad Vakya, Upanishad Pramana. But the thing is, because it is not vyavahita, obstructed by time and space, it is called as aparoksha. It is aparoksha. But here is the catch. We have to understand one thing. Knowledge which I have gained, as we said, it should be without any doubt. Otherwise, it is not really knowledge. So even though I have known myself to be Brahman because Upanishads have said so, I have my full faith, Shraddha, etc. If I still have those doubts, that is not really an aparoksha jnana. Do you mean to say you have not gained aparoksha jnana? I am not saying so. Because pramana to work, intellect, the buddhi should be without doubts. That alone is the problem. So only the thing here is pramana has not done its work properly. Why? Because there are defects in my mind, neither in pramana, not in the object which is to be known or which is being known. And when that defect is known, the pramana which I used earlier, that itself is going to give me same knowledge, which is going to be doubtless. So, all in all, what is the pramana means of knowledge? Upanishad Vakya alone are means of knowledge. Therefore, knowledge can be gained through Upanishad Vakya alone, and to help that knowledge to be doubtless, Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana is required. This is Siddhanta. The objection that was raised was, no, you can't say like that. Why? Because Upanishads have said, do Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. Vedanta itself has said so. And if they have said, do Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, then only when Upanishad Vakya, that can be Avantar Vakya or Mahavakya, only when combined with Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, then alone you will gain Aparoksha Jnana. And this does not fit into the concept, idea or definition of Pramana and knowledge gained through Pramana. What do you mean? Simple. Can Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana be Pramana? No, because Shravana can be done of Upanishad Vakya itself. I am listening to that Pramana. So Shravana is just a helpful, an accessory. Manana can be done about something which has been told in Upanishads itself. I cannot do Manana of my own. So Manana is dependent on Upanishad Vakya, Shravana is dependent on Upanishad Vakya, Nididhyasana is also dependent on Upanishad Vakya. And if all these three are dependent on Pramana, then how can they three can be different than Pramana? They can't be. They are accessory. By explaining this, first argument that you have to combine Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana with Upanishad Vakya to gain Aparoksha Jnana was refuted. Here we had seen the example of 10th man. Let's understand it again. 10th man has been lost. Has it really been lost? No. The person who is counting, he is not counting himself to be that 10th man. Now, the interesting thing here is, does he not know himself? Yes, he knows himself. But the problem is, he does not know himself to be that 10th man which has been lost. So, unless and until he is being told by Apta, by a relative or by another person, that you are that 10th man, till he knows I am that 10th man, whatever that he knows about himself is paroksha, pratyaksha. Actually not paroksha, pratyaksha. Why? Because he is knowing himself through his senses. But same knowledge about himself, when it is refuted and changed through aptokti, the knowledge that he gains about himself is now aparoksha. In the same way, we know about ourselves through all the other means of knowledge. Here there is very beautiful thing which we say in Vedanta. If we knew ourselves to be Brahman without Vedanta Pramana, we would not need Vedanta. Pack up the whole thing and be happy. Why? Why do you need Pramana? You will know it by itself. It doesn't happen that way. For knowledge to take place, Pramana is needed, Pramana is required, and Vedanta alone can be Pramana to tell us something which we don't know ourselves about. And there is another thing. We don't need Vedanta to tell us that we are miserable. We know it ourselves by our experience. We know ourselves to be this body. Then why Vedanta has to be there to tell us that you are this Jiva? No. Why would Vedas tell us which we already know by our experience? They won't. So that this is the interesting part. Now, having understood, okay, I am Brahman. If I am a adhikari, pushkala sadhana chatushtaya sampanna, then and there itself paroksha jnana will take place and shravana manana nididhyasana will not be required. This is being explained now. Vidiyakshepasya samadhanam. The second objection was, if aparoksha jnana was gained by Upanishad Vakya, Mahavakya itself, then Shravana Manana Nididhyasana is futile, useless, you don't need them. And if Shravana Manana Nididhyasana has been told in Vedanta, Upanishads, etc., it has some usage. You can't say it this way. It is being answered. Yattuktam, that has been said. Mahavakyena aparoksha jnanotpatti angikare. Aparoksha jnanotpatti angikare. Aparoksha jnanotpatti adhikarane. Asambhavanadi anutpattehe shravanadinam vayyartham syat iti tadasat. Yattuktam, that which you have said. If it is considered, if it is accepted, that angikare, accepted, mahavakyena aparoksha jnanotpatti. By mahavakya, aparoksha jnana is gained. If we accept this, then in aparoksha jnanotpatti adhikarane, when aparoksha jnana has already been gained, asambhavanadi anutpattehe. There is no way there will be asambhavana, etc. After aparoksha jnana has been gained, there is no possibility for doubts to be there. Why? Because knowledge is already doubtless. Asambhavanadi anutpattehe. Asambhavana, viparita bhavana cannot arise. And if Shravana Manana Nididhyasana is to remove asambhavana, viparita bhavana, etc., and if asambhavana, viparita bhavana are not there, Shravanadinam vayyartham syat. Shravana Manana Nididhyasana will be vyartha, futile. This, your understanding, tad asat, is not appropriate. How do you say so? Now, even though the object that is to be known is aparoksha, there is possibility of doubts. Is being explained with example. Even though here the example is in purview or in the category of pratyaksha, it can be understood in aparoksha sense also. कश्चन राजा स्वामात्यं भक्षुनामकं चक्षुषा पश्यन्नपि विपरीत भावनया यथा न विवेद तं तथा महावाक्येन ब्रह्मा परोक्ष ज्ञानोत्पत्तौ अपि यस्यान्तःकरणे असंभावनादि दोषाः प्रतिबंधकाः वर्तन्ते तस्य सकलंकं ज्ञानं नैव फलाय कल्पते। कश्चन राजा, there is this story of a Bharchu, a minister to a king. That minister's name was Bharchu, and he was a very dear and close to king. Now, other ministers were jealous of this person, so they created a coup. They created some disturbance in that kingdom against king, and asked king to send this minister Bharchu. So this minister was sent, and there, even though that disturbance was solved, they tried to kill this minister. Now minister understood, if I go back, they certainly are going to kill me. So he left his ministerial post and he retreated. Because of Vairagya, he went to forest. Now people back in kingdom, all other ministers told king that Bharchu has died. But the problem is, Bharchu was not really dead. He had retreated himself to forest. Now he was residing in forest. Now ministers had this doubt or problem. If king decides to go for hunting and he goes into that forest and sees Bharchu, he certainly will know that Bharchu was not dead. So they told king that Bharchu has died and he has become a ghost. And he roams around in forest by applying ash all over his body. If you see him, don't go near him, otherwise he will kill you. Now there is this prejudiced idea in king's mind that Bharchu has become a ghost. Now same thing happened. Now that which ministers had expected, that happened. King had gone for hunting and he saw Bharchu. Kashana Raja Swamatyam, Swam Amatyam. His Amatyam, his minister, Bharchu Namakam, named Bharchu, he saw Chakshusha Pashyannapi, he saw him, that Bharchu Namakamatya, minister, with his own eyes. But still, Pashyan Api, Viparita Bhavanaya, he already has this conviction that Bharchu has become a ghost. Na Viveda, he did not know Bharchu to be really Bharchu. That he is in fact Bharchu, he is not a ghost. King did not know that. Why? Because of Viparita Bhavana, erroneous understanding, prejudiced understanding. That is the inherent error. Tatha, similarly, Mahavakyena Brahma Paroksha Jnanotpattau. In case of gaining a Paroksha Jnana by Mahavakya, api. In this case also, Yasyantah Karane Asambhavanadi Doshaha Pratibandhakaha Vartante. The person is whose Antahkarana, in whose mind these asambhavana, etc., viparita bhavana, all these dosha, all these defects are residing, are there, which obstruct the knowledge. Pratibandhaka vartante, they are there. Tasya, for that person, sakalankam jnanam, sakalankam, kalanka with defect, a colored knowledge. Kalanka is actually a stain on our any cloth. So stained, which is erroneous, with doubts. Sakalankam jnanam, naiva phalaya kalpate, cannot give result of that knowledge. Here, we don't have to go into details and arguments, but there are two schools of thoughts and understanding. Actually, they say the same thing, but from two different standpoints. Few people say here the knowledge which has been gained is aparoksha only. Why? Because you have done pramana vyapara. You have done pramana vyapara and aparoksha, because Mahavakya can give only aparoksha jnana. And you have heard Maha to Mahavakya. So knowledge that you have gained is aparoksha in a sense. Aparoksha in a sense, and because you are not seeing its result, phala. What is the phala of aparoksha jnana? Nirankusha trupti, total happiness, moksha. Why has not that been being seen? Because of this pratibandha. So go on putting forth effort to do this, to remove these pratibandha. The other way of explaining this same thing, they say, idam mad vishayam. Madhusudana Saraswati in his Bhagavad Gita Tika, he writes, idam mad vishayam swataha aparoksha jnanam. Knowledge is about me, myself, who I really am. But yet, unfortunately, I have doubts, I have erroneous understanding about myself. Asambhavanadi pratibandhena. Because of these obstructions in form of asambhavana, doubt, erroneous understanding, etc. Phalam ajanayat. Because it is not giving results. Because it has not given results, it is paroksha only. Why? Because with knowledge, its result needs to be seen. If it is not in case of paroksha, not in case of paroksha pramana and paroksha jnana, in case of aparoksha vastu or pratyaksha vastu. Say for example, this is a very small point but very important point. If I am seeing any object with my eyes, and this is the classical case where there are no doubts, it is a well lit room, I am clearly able to see with my eyes the object in front of me, then I will gain result along with the knowledge. When I am seeing the object in front of me, I will experience also. Is it not? Yes. For paroksha jnana, object itself is paroksha, object itself is obstructed. So you cannot have that experience of phala when knowledge is taking place. So that let's keep that aside. Now, when we are trying to know ourselves, if it is only when it is doubtless, only when knowledge is doubtless, then alone the result can be seen. And if the result is not seen, we cannot really call the knowledge which has been gained as knowledge, as aparoksha. It is still knowledge that has been gained because somebody told me so. I have doubts, but somebody told me so. Same pramana, same mahavakya, when doubts are removed, it is going to give results. And when asambhavanadi nirasatu, Madhusudana Saraswati adds further, when all these doubts are removed, tenaiva pramanena, mahavakya pramana, which earlier I had used. Now, because I don't have any doubts, that pramana itself is going to give me knowledge, which is now aparoksha. Why? Because it is doubtless. Pratibandha abhavat phalam janayat. There and there itself, because I am seeing the result, aparoksham iti upacharyate. It is called as aparoksha jnana. Here author had said pratibandhakaah vartante, because there are obstructions. So that sakalankam jnanam naiva phalaya kalpate, because there are obstructions, you will not see the result of that knowledge. But atah प्रतिबंधकी भूत दोष निवृत्त्यर्थम तेन श्रवणादिकम अवश्यम आवर्तनीयम. For somebody who has all these doubts, for him he has to do shravana manana nididhyasana to remove those doubts. But yasya tu punaha buddhau महाभाग्यवशात् रागद्वेषादिकारिणी भूता संभावनादि दोषाः नैव विद्यन्ते. But about a person, yasyatu buddhau, but again, the person is whose buddhau, in intellect, in mind, mahabhagyavashat, on account of great punya that he has acquired, the sadhana which has done for so many lives, for him, ragadveshadikarani bhuta asambhavanadi doshaha. So those which give rise to raga, dvesha, etc. What gives rise to raga, dvesha, etc.? Asambhavana, viparita bhavana, etc. The doubt, erroneous understanding, all these obstructions, these doshas, these defects, naiva vidyante, are not there. Tasya, for that person, shravanadi vayyartham ishtameva. If you say for that person, Shravana Manana Nididhyasana is not required, it is right. Of course it is appropriate. Why? Because Shravana Manana Nididhyasana has been told for a person who has doubts. We never said that Shravana Manana Nididhyasana is essential, inherent part. No, they are accessory. Evancha ज्ञानस्य साक्षात् कारणम महावाक्यम एव न श्रवणादि. Therefore, for knowledge, aparoksha jnana to take place, mahavakya alone is the direct cause, directly responsible. It is sakshat karana, not shravana, manana or nididhyasana. Shravanaditu ज्ञान प्रतिबंधकी भूता संभावनादि दोषापनयन मात्रम कुर्यात्. श्रवण आदि, श्रवण मनन एटसेट्रा, ज्ञान प्रतिबंधकी भूत, ज्ञान knowledge, प्रतिबंध obstruction, भूत, that which is obstructing knowledge. What is obstructing knowledge? Asambhavana, viparita bhavana, etc. The doubts in pramana, doubts in object that is to be known, and erroneous inherent error or erroneous understanding. All these defects, apanaya matram, apanaya removing, apan kuryat. Shravana manana nididhyasana is going to remove the defects only. It cannot generate some new knowledge. They are not capable. Tavan matrena shravanadi api jnana sadhanam iti gaunya vritya uchyate. Even though this being the case, shravana, manana, nididhyasana in secondary sense are called as jnana sadhana, means of knowledge. Tatha, similarly, vivekadi chatushtayam api, viveka, vairagya, shamadhi, shatka sampatti and mumukshuta, all these also shravanadi upakarakataya, being upakaraka, being helpful in shravanadi upakarakataya, being helpful in shravana manana nididhyasana. For shravana manana nididhyasana, jnana sadhanam iti eva uchyate. They are called as jnana sadhana, but again in secondary sense. because they are sahakari, helpful. Tatha cha, thus विवेकादि साधन चतुष्टय संपन्नः एव अधिकारी इति सिद्धम. So who is adhikari? A qualified person for aparoksha jnana to take place. The one who is vivekadi sadhana chatushtaya sampanna. Here concludes the topic of adhikari. Let's understand where we had started and where we have come. We started with Anubandha Chatushtaya, and in Anubandha Chatushtaya we started with who is an adhikari. Who is adhikari? Adhikari is the one who is, what is adhikara? Shravana, not Shravana, Viveka Vairagya Samadhi Shatka Sampatti Mumukshuta is Sadhana Chatushtaya. And the one who is endowed with this sadhana chatushtaya sampanna, he is an adhikari, a qualified person. Why? Because for knowledge to take place, you need sadhana chatushtaya, that is viveka, vairagya, samadhi shatka sampatti, mumukshuta, shravana manana nididhyasana, and tattvam padartha shodhana. All these were included in Antaranga Sadhana. Why Antaranga Sadhana? Because they are in a way directly responsible for Aparoksha Jnana to take place. And Yajna Yagadika, because they give Chitta Shuddhi, they are indirectly responsible. In this Antaranga Sadhana, Viveka Vairagya Samadhi Shatka Sampatti Mumukshuta are useful and helpful for Shravana Manana Nididhyasana. Shravana Manana Nididhyasana is required to remove doubts about the means of knowledge, that which is to be known, and inherent error that I am this body and this world is real. When we say inherent error or erroneous understanding, this persistent idea that I am this body and this world is real, even though I have repeatedly heard, repeatedly seen throughout Vedanta that Upanishads are trying to say this world is relatively real, Brahman alone is the truth, ultimate truth. That inherent understanding error that I have, that is Viparita Bhavana. To remove all these, Shravana Manana Nididhyasana is required, and when doubts are removed, when Mahavakya is heard that Tat Tvamasi, Aham Brahmasmi, this Aparoksha Jnana is going to take place. Now, therefore, for Aparoksha Jnana to take place, I have to be a qualified person. For Aparoksha Jnana to take place, I should not have any doubts in my mind. If I am not to have any doubts in my mind, I should do Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana to remove those doubts. And if Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana is to give its result, what is required is Viveka, Vairagya, Samadhi Shatka Sampatti and Mumukshuta in abundance. So, who is an adhikari? In simple words, the one who has Viveka, Vairagya, Samadhi Shatka Sampatti, Mumukshuta, Sampanna, enormous amount of wealth, in abundance. He is adhikari, a most qualified person. We are qualified with grace marks. That's the difference. Having explained this, now author will explain what is the Vishaya Prayojana. Vishaya, the topic of this text, Prayojana, the purpose of this text, and the Sambandha, the relation. There are few doubts which are raised. but those we will see next time. Om asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amritangamaya. Om shanti shanti shanti. समस्तलोका सुखिनो भवन्तु. समस्तलोका सुखिनो भवन्तु. समस्तलोका सुखिनो भवन्तु. ओम शांति शांति शांति. हरि ओम. श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः. हरि ओम.